Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Rei-Lin, and I'm back with a small update for a couple of games. The first and foremost, of course, is Armored Warfare. The Balance Patch 2.0, or Patch 0.19, finally has a release date, and that release date is April the 20th. So less than 2 weeks away. The big, huge patch that we've all been waiting for, or at least I've definitely been waiting for, that adds a lot more stuff to the game and more or less changes the game in significant ways as far as the game balance and the mechanics of basically everything. They've completely overhauled the game to bring it up to what they feel is a much better gameplay experience than it was before. And they're hoping, of course, that this will be the final change that they have to make that's so significant and brings it into line with, I pretty much guess, World of Tanks. They're hoping that this will still draw people from World of Tanks, and it'll be a better experience, and everyone will just come flocking back to the game. They've added a lot to the game, not just balance changes and things like that, but they've added 26 new vehicles. Those vehicles are kind of low to mid tier for the most part. They're filling in gaps between history when there are certain tanks that seem to jump from 1 year and then significantly jump upwards to several years later. There was no kind of in between, and they just kind of threw vehicles in there randomly. So some stuff is going to move around in the tech trees. They added a new PvP map called Chemical Plant. They added a new global operations map, Barren Divide. Now, again, global operations is kind of their big niche thing, along with the PvE content that separates them from World of Tanks. So they're hoping that a new global operations map that's also much bigger than the older ones will bring some more people in. Two PvE maps have been added. One's called Raiding Party, and the other is called Watchdog, which both have some nice looking effects and stuff like that in there. And they also added a skirmish mode. The long and short of skirmish mode is that if the matchmaker can't find 15 players to populate two teams of 15 players, it'll start breaking those tanks down into smaller PvP maps, and it'll be either 3-on-3 or 5-on-5 battles using PvP maps that are much smaller versions of the normal PvP maps, using the same rules as normal PvP games. So those games will probably be a little bit quicker, but at least you won't have to sit in a queue forever waiting on a match just to hop in there and get some experience and move on. They're also going to put the T-72B3 Tier 8 Premium Main Battle Tank back into the game. About a month ago, they added this tank to the store, and few people were obviously able to buy it. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance. I didn't know it was up there before they took it down because it did have a bug that was allowing it to get into much lower tier games than it should have. So it was bugged. They took it out. If you had already purchased it when they removed it, you could no longer play it, even though it was in your garage. But for those that did buy it, they're going to give you all the gold back that the tank was worth, and you're still going to keep the tank. So you're going to gain a little bit of extra gold. Once the patch goes live, they're going to be having some nice, awesome prizes, and by allowing people to play a certain number of games, you're going to be able to win some gold, loot crates, or premium time. So they're kind of taking this pretty much as serious as you'd hope they would, considering that they've pretty much revamped and redone almost every aspect of the game. It's basically like almost a relaunch of the game, and they're hoping that this time they got enough stuff right that it's going to start bringing in people, PvEers and PvPers, and hopefully, I hope they're right. I mean, obviously World of Tanks players are very kind of loyal to World of Tanks, especially if they've played it for a long time, because it's got similar mechanics. You got a lot of gold that be spent in the game to buy premium tanks, and so a lot of people put a lot of money over the years into a game like World of Tanks, and it's really hard for them to give that up and move on to a completely new game that is sharing a lot of the mechanics, except it has more modern tanks. I'm thinking Wargaming probably doesn't have a lot to worry about when it comes to Armored Warfare completely taking over the entire World of Tanks kind of market, but I think there is definitely enough room for both games to exist and do really well. It's just Armored Warfare obviously had certain problems that they're hoping that this new balance patch will take care of for the PvPers and the PvEers, and it sounds like they're more than willing to add a lot of new content as far as maps and gameplay modes. And right now it's just testing the waters to see how the new skirmish mode goes, and if it doesn't work out, then we're moving and replace it with something else. Of course, PvPers would be happy to know that they have removed artillery for PvP, at least for the time being, until they can come up with a solution to that old, World of Tanks problem, as well as Armored Warfare problem of artillery. And most people, I don't think, are going to complain too much. You can still play artillery in PvE, however, so if you need to play artillery and that you need to get that fixed, you just go over into a PvE match. And that's pretty much it for the update on Armored Warfare. However, there is a game that I kind of came out of left field that I did want to talk about very briefly, seeing as how there isn't a whole lot of information on it at the moment, and that is Secret World, The Secret World Legends. The Secret World was an MMO. It's still out, and you can still play it today. That came out circa 2011, 2012. And it had a lot of nice things about it. It was released by Funcom, and it just had a very, very awesome atmospheric feel to it. And it had a pretty much do whatever you want sort of idea to it, where there were no real... it was basically you had infinite levels, and you had a skill wheel, and the skills that you got were for different types of weapons and things like that, to where you could be a tank, or you could switch your build up and be a DPS, or you could switch it up and be a healer. It had a lot of interesting ideas, and the atmosphere was very, very much like a Stephen King novel kind of thing going on. A lot of references to zombies and Cthulhu, and it was very, very beautiful game. They're basically taking it and relaunching the game. They're redoing all the combat. They're upping the graphics to more or less modern day graphics. They weren't happy with how they looked. And pretty much all they released right now is just a trailer of the original game. And so there's not a lot going on, but I've basically signed up for the beta, and you can sign up for the beta as well. And if you play the Secret World before and you have an account with characters, you can actually reserve the name of your old character to move over into Secret World Legends. Your characters won't transfer, but they've said that they're going to bring over any of the cosmetic items that you have purchased from their in-game store, and maybe other items as well, and including like subscriptions and things like that. It's going to release on Steam first, they said, and it's going to be completely free to play, and include all the content that the Secret World has right now, including all the DLC. So with any luck, the game will come out and it'll be a much better experience overall, and I think that's pretty much what they're going for. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I know it's kind of short, but I just wanted to give everyone a heads up on a couple of games that I'm looking into, and of course Armored Warfare, finally, after all these months, we're finally going to get something new to talk about in the game, me with premium tanks and all the other new tanks, and all new gameplay and things like that. So hopefully all of that's going to work out. I'll be back with more videos on that as soon as that patch drops. And of course, Secret World Legends was a game that I really did enjoy back in the day when I played it for the first year and a half or so. And I'm glad that they're relaunching it, and hopefully it will become something of a little bit of a thing, and it'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, please press the like button down below. It does help out my channel. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel, you can click at the bottom of your screen right now, and that'll get you all the latest updates every time I put something new up on my channel. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care, and I'll talk to you all next time.